Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. You know, if you look at the overall list of Shirley Temple films, you'll notice that many of them have the word little in the title. Understandable, I guess, because during her most celebrated days as a star, she was little, and her movies' titles reflected that. It began in 1934 with her film Little Miss Marker, then came The Little Colonel, and Our Little Girl, and The Littlest Rebel, all released in 1935. 1936 gave us Poor Little Rich Girl. In 1938 came our next film, Little Miss Broadway, and final came The Little Princess in 1939. But when Shirley reached the age of 10, began growing in size, there were no more references to her in movie titles as Little. This next film, Little Miss Broadway, though, is one that was made in an attempt to recapture some of the magic Shirley displayed when she was little. She once again plays an orphan, a girl named Betsy Brown, who's taken in by Edward Ellis and his daughter Barbara, who run a hotel that caters to vaudeville entertainers, and eventually is left to Shirley to figure out a way to raise money to save that hotel from being closed. One guess as to how she does it. It's a movie that teams Shirley with a number of talented people. There's song and dance man George Murphy. There's the great and funny Jimmy Durante. There's also Edna Mae Oliver, Jane Darwell, Donald Meek. I mean, pros of the old school, certainly. And specialty acts such as the Bryan sisters and the Brewster twins, everybody under the direction of Irwin Cummings, who directed a total of 4 of Shirley Temple's films. One of the great selling points of this film we're about to bring you was the teaming of Shirley at the age of 10 with Jimmy Durante and her dancing with George Murphy, particularly in a number called We Should Be Together. In the 1930s, George Murphy was actually one of the best dancing men in the movies. That aspect of Murphy's talent, however, faded in the 1940s when suddenly from Broadway came Gene Kelly to the movies, Gene joining Fred Astaire in dominating the field of dancing in films that nobody else seemed able to compete with, including Gene Nelson, later Johnny Coy, Gower Champion, Bobby Van, Bob Fosse, or George Murphy. Here from 1938, Little Miss Broadway.